I've trained calisthenics for 10 years. I've solely focused on strength. But what's on the other side? What can we learn from endurance? This is my journey to running a 70-kilometer ultramarathon in Japan. Okie dokie, boys and girls, it is day 25 of Road to Shimanami, and well, today another run has been completed. But first of all, I want to mention I just realized how bad season 3 of One Punch Man was. Like, what is it? You have the 5 stages of grief, right? I was fully in denial until earlier today, where I realized, like, hey, they actually just cut out the entire boss fight, right? What's that supposed to mean? It's like the most important part, and they just, they crammed it into 2 minutes, and it's not even accurate to how the original story went in the manga. So I'm a bit mad at, I didn't realize like 3 ended at episode 12. I thought, oh, maybe, there will be 25 episodes, because it didn't even feel like an ending. But it does not make me less of a fan of One Punch Man, because guess what? The whole reason that I'm running 10 kilometers a day is because I watched a Japanese guy trying the actual One Punch Man training, and well, this year he's gonna succeed. I was inspired by it, and the cool thing about the One Punch Man training is that unlike other animes, it's actually something that's quite manageable if you just get through the first stages. So of course, the push-ups, and the squats and the sit-ups are quite easy, 100 of each. But then you have the running, which is actually quite difficult. I'm experiencing trouble as well. But when you get past it, right, and you do it every day, like Saitama himself says, you can actually get quite strong. And I think that's very exciting, because oftentimes, like these anime trainings, you can mimic them, but you can never actually complete them because they're doing it with 2 tons of weight, right? But in the case of One Punch Man, it's very simple to follow, and it's the same routine every day. But I think that's kind of the power of it, because when you just put yourself to something every day, no questions asked, eventually it's gonna turn into something good. I've been running now every day 10 kilometers for 25 days, but in total, I've been running for more than 600 days every day, right? With a minimum of 5 kilometers a day. And at first, I didn't know where I was gonna head. I just knew, like, hey, I have to do something. Like, I feel like I suck at running, but at the same time, I feel like I'm lying to myself. I feel like, I'm not actually putting in the effort. So how do I put in the effort? Because I still want to train strength, right? How do I put in the effort? How do I start? Well, start with something easy. Start with a simple concept. And running every day, no questions asked, is about the most simple concept that you can have. And when you can just put yourself to something on a daily basis, eventually it's going to turn into something bigger. So for me, last year, I ran a 50-kilometer run, right? Without ever running like a marathon before. And yes, it was quite slow, 5.5 hours. That's just because at some point I decided to start. And it's the same with, the 10 kilometers a day I'm doing right now, right? There are probably, or, not just probably, there are definitely more efficient ways to train, right? More efficient and better and safer ways to train running. But just the fact that I have no choice, right? And I have to get up every day and do the run and stay consistent, I think there's something very powerful about that. So that's why I like One Punch Man. That's why the disappointment in the anime is even bigger. But when it comes to today's training, well, it's kind of the same thing, right? I train daily because of that precise reason that I believe you can do something every day, no questions asked. So even though the strength at the moment is not my main goal, I'm just gonna keep doing it because I feel like eventually, let's say I come back to strength, it's gonna turn into a positive effect. So for today, what the plan is gonna be is first of all 3 sets of planche and front lever, and then some hand balancing, hopefully with with some leftover power. I hope I will have some leftover power to do some hand balancing as well, but that's something we'll see in the second half. For now, 3 hard sets in the planche and front lever. I'm just gonna try combos that are a little bit harder than last time, and well, I'm either gonna succeed or I'm gonna fail, but in any case, I'm gonna give it my all. So let's go. That was not the best quality, but holy shit, it was a good set. Oh boy, I've gotten weak and I've gotten a cramp in my abs. Right, let's try 5 seconds to a press or 2 or however many I can do. Holy shit! Holy shit, where the hell did that third one come from? Alright, let's do a close to max front lever touch, because I don't want to aggravate my injury, and then some holds, normal holds to front lever presses. Oh, this is cardio. Alright, 1 push-up to a max hold. Alright. Goes without saying, my back and my shoulders are destroyed at this point. But I also got a question from a viewer on how I train my forearms, and well, you would be surprised to know how pumped and tired my forearms actually are at the moment, just from training the planche and the front lever. In the planche, you're squeezing the bar as hard as possible to translate as much power from your shoulders into the bar to keep yourself upright, right? So in the planche, you're squeezing your forearms the entire time. Also, when you're pushing up like this in the planche, all of the pressure is on this part of the forearm too. The front lever, right? In the front lever, you're constantly squeezing the bar, and it's even more true when you have a thick bar like I'm using right now, and even more true if you're using the false grip. So when you're training front lever pull-ups or a progression, right? Tuck front lever pull-ups, advanced tuck front lever pull-ups, and you're using a false grip, you're in this position the entire time. And basically you're training the drumstick on your forearm. So if you train skills hard, I don't think you need any separate forearm training, right? Unless you have some pain, then you do some accessory exercises. But the hypertrophy, I guess, which the question was about, I think skills are enough. Alright, I forgot to put on a timer to count the seconds, but I'm doing a bit of a warm-up hold here on each hand for the handstand, and then I'm gonna do 3 attempts of the 3-finger progression to the 1-arm handstand, you know. So for me, I've unlocked handstand with 4 fingers of assistance, and basically every finger is a progression. So you go from 5 to 4, and then 3, 2, 1, and eventually 0. Today I'm doing 3 attempts at 3 fingers, hopefully. Alright. Jesus Christ, this is more finger training than handstand training. Jesus Christ. I know what I'm doing wrong, but I can't prevent it. Yet. "19 fucking seconds." I shouldn't get greedy. Okie dokie, so that's it for today's training, and well, that was quite a good handstand workout, despite my shoulders being sapped from all their energy already. But a short one, you know, 3 attempts or 1 warm-up set and then 3 attempts, and well, 17 seconds on the right, 19 seconds on the left, just barely not 20 seconds. Very unfortunate, but I do want to reach that 20 seconds before I move on to the next progression. I don't want to be too greedy, so that's what I'm gonna do next workout as well, or attempt to do next workout as well is basically use my 3 fingers again and try and get those 20 seconds. But you know, when it comes to the handstand workout, when it comes to any workout in general, repetition is the key. You know, you're doing reps. When a baby learns how to walk, he's doing reps. He tries and he fails. He's trying similar stuff every time, and then he learns something, he adapts, he overcomes, right? Improvise, adapt, overcome. You know the meme, right? But that's true for anything in life, right? Not only training, It's also true for when you're studying or when you're working. When you're basically trying to learn any new skill, you want to repeat it over and over again so that you can adapt. And that's why I think a routine is quite powerful. Just a simple routine that keeps you busy, that keeps you going at it consistently. Because yes, you can learn like skills without having like a set in stone routine. Like I also don't have a very defined routine. The only thing that I really define is, well, I'm gonna run every day and I'm gonna train every day. And everything that I do on top of that, or that I do based on that routine, is, well, it's similar every week and I make little adjustments. So there aren't big changes all the time. So there is kind of this routine, but at the same time, it's not set in stone. Today, I decided to do 3 sets of planche and front lever, but it could have been 4, right? It could have been 5 sets, but less hard. It could have been push-ups, right? But in general, right, if you just have a simple routine, a simple standard to hold yourself upon, well, it's going to help you stay consistent, and that's how you build results over time. That's how you get stronger. That's how Saitama became the strongest hero in the entire anime universe in 3 years' time. He just kept his routine for 3 years, and then, well, he became bald and strong. So that's what I'm aiming for as well. Maybe not the baldness, but, well, we'll see what happens. But anyway, it's one day at a time. Tomorrow I'll be out there running again. I'll be having a leg day and doing some push-ups. And, well, I hope to see you there when the video is out. Let's grab some dinner.